Hi everybody, it's Jody Hurwitz. I had a request for an introduction to yoga for first-time practitioners. It's always amazing to share this passion that we have with friends and family who have never tried it. So here's a short sequence that you can pass along or even try yourself. It's always great to get back to basics. I'll have you begin coming to a cross-legged seat. Crossing the shin bones, lining up with the belly button, knees are resting comfortably down, chin is at chin level, sitting up nice and tall. Now, if you've never done yoga before, your knees may be all the way up here because of tightness, totally fine. You want to grab a block or a pillow and come to sit on the block. This way, the hips are lifted, the knees can drop down, and the spine can lengthen. Shoulder heads roll up, down, and back. Up, down, and back. And then up, forward, and down. Up, forward, and down. And you can take some gentle neck rolls just to start to feel where you may have some tension. Take it in one direction and then the other. And then you come back to a nice tall spine. This will also serve you for your meditation practice. Palms spin up, thumb and forefinger to touch. And you sit comfortably in stillness as you work on resting and training your mind. That will be our next video, Introduction to Meditation. Today we're going to work on the asanas, the poses. So coming out of your comfortable seat, I'm going to invite you into child's pose. Great place to start. You begin by coming to hands and knees, and taking a moment here on your way to child's pose to explore some movement in your backbone. I want you to take a deep breath in through the nose, drop the belly, lift the head, little arch in the low back. Take a nice long exhale, strong arms, chin to chest, round the upper back. Inhale is the back bend. Lift the head, heart, and hips. Exhale, mad cat pose. Look at the expansion across the shoulders. Two more like that. Inhale. This is cow pose. Exhale, cat. Come back to your neutral spine. Hips are just over the knees, the belly button is lifting, and like you're threading a needle, right arm reaches under the body. Now the left hand can press down, give you a little twist. Fingertips of the right hand are reaching out of the right elbow. Left hand can even reach up, spin the palm back behind you, bend the elbow, and catch the right thigh. That will help you roll the left shoulder open as well. We call this threading the needle. Nice scapula, outer right shoulder is getting a stretch, and you're breathing deeply. Release the top arm back to the mat. Press up hands and knees. Other side. Left arm reaches under the body, the right elbow bends so that you can descend the cheek. Right palm presses down to revolve open or reach the right hand up, spin the palm back, and find that half bind by seeking out the left inner thigh. Roll the right shoulder open, breathe in, breathe out. And unwind, reach that arm up. Exhale, back to hands and knees. And as promised, child's pose. Here's how this one goes. You start in hands and knees. You bring the knees as wide as your mat. Big toes are touching. You sit the hips back to the heels and you walk the arms forward. The space between the eyebrows comes to the floor. Child's pose. Let me give you that from the side. Starting in hands and knees, big toes touching, knees as wide as the mat, hips sit back, descend the chest and forehead to the mat. Now this is a nice deep flexion of the knees and hips. And if for some reason that's too much on the knees, you take your pillow or your bolster and you place it between the seat and the heels. It gives you a little bit more cushion to sink down onto. And then once again, you just walk it out and you descend into a nice deep forward fold. Child's pose with a bolster. Take a few deep breaths here. You see every pose requires deep inhales and deep exhales. Above all, we're breathing. Inhale slowly through the nose. Exhale lightly through the mouth. Inhale through the nose. And exhale through the mouth. This pose can be held for 5 to 20 minutes, or just for 3 to 5 breaths, you decide. Coming back up to hands and knees, set your bolster aside, keep it handy, and we're gonna straighten out the right leg back behind us. Now the left knee is on the mat, you're pressing evenly into all 10 fingers, out through the right heel, getting a nice stretch behind the right calf, the Achilles. Take the heart slightly forward, take a deep breath in, and a long breath out. Switch sides. Right knee back down, left leg extends, coming onto the ball of the foot, bobbing slightly forward and back, pressing out through the heel. That will give you a nice sensation, a nice stretch behind the left calf. Look slightly forward, breathe in. Breathe out, nice strong arms. And exhale, release. Good. Now reach that right leg back behind you. This time add the left foot to meet it. Plank pose. You can see I'm in one strong line like a plank of wood. The tendency is to lift the hips up. You want to keep the hips about the height of the shoulders. Breathe in. Breathe out, gaze is down the bridge of the nose, belly button is lifting, strong upper back, exhale here. Good, I want you to bend your knees, press your palms down and away, lift your bum up and back, and work towards straightening your legs. This is that iconic pose, downward facing dog. If it's your first downward dog ever, you want to bend your knees a lot. Keep strengthening through the arms as you lift your hips up. And you can work this pose with the knees bent. No reason to straighten the legs in the beginning. Take a few deep breaths. And then even biking out through the legs, giving yourself an opportunity to feel a little straightening, a little fluidity, and breathe in. Try and relax the neck, drop the head, and then forward and back. Inhale, back to plank pose. Shoulders over wrists, gaze is slightly forward. Exhale, hips lift up and back, downward dog. Inhale, plank pose, look forward, strong. Exhale, down dog, hips lift, back. Last one like that, inhale. Exhale, downward facing dog. And you start to come high into the balls of the feet and take little steps towards the hands. You can bend the knees and you meet yourself
in a forward fold, a ragdoll position. Just kind of draping. Now if your hamstrings are super tight, I want you to have 2 blocks. You can rest the hands on the blocks. Inhale, lift the heart, get a little longer. Exhale, bow and fold. Tipping the weight towards the front of the foot so you get a nice amount of sensation up the back of the leg, the hamstring, and you get that sacral tilt at the low back. Lots of arm options here. You can grab opposite elbows in front of or behind the legs. You can even interlace the hands at the low back to the webbing and try and keep the wrist creases touching as you start to straighten the arms overhead. Above all, breathing deeply. It's the deep inhales and the deep exhales that make this different from all your other practices. We can't stress this enough. The most important thing in yoga is to breathe. Release the hands back to the mat if they're there. Hands to blocks if you're using blocks. And step the left foot all the way to the back of the mat. Drop the left knee down. Slide your blocks under the shoulders. The back toe can be tucked or untucked. See what feels best for you. I want you to sink deeply into the front knee and you'll feel a little stretch up the front of the left leg. Deepen this by pulling your belly in, shoulder heads roll back, and arms eventually reach overhead for King Arthur's pose or kneeling warrior. Lift up, arch back. Finding your deep breaths here. Eventually palms press, gazes to the thumbs. One more. And exhale, slowly release the hands back to the blocks for runner's stretch. You may want to slide the block slightly forward as the right leg starts to straighten. You may want to slide the heel forward. Runner's stretch. So fingertips are pressing into the mat or blocks. Hips are over the left knee. Pull the toes, flex the toes towards the face. Inhale, lift the heart. Exhale, break the elbows, bow the head. Breathing in here. Take about 4 more breaths. Big stretch behind the front leg. 2 more here. Last one. And exhale, look forward. Step the right knee back. Step the left foot forward. Coming into that kneeling warrior. I love to have 2 blocks here. Inhale, sink low. Roll the heart open. Hands can stay on the blocks or come to the waist. Eventually, arms reach up. Palms press. Gaze lifts. And breathe. You're feeling this in front of the right thigh. Big hip flexor. 2 more breaths. Maybe add a little bit more of a back bend. A little goes a long way in yoga. Exhale, hands back to fingertips or blocks. Left leg straightens. Heel slides forward. Flex the foot. Hands press into the blocks or floor. Inhale to lengthen the chest. Exhale, bend the elbows and fold. Chin towards the shin. You can set your blocks aside and see if this is more available to you with hands on the mat. About 4 more breaths. Nice long runner stretch here so that we can open up slowly behind the back of the front leg. 1 more breath. Exhale, back to hands and knees. Child's pose. Sit the hips back. This time the knees and thighs are together
for more of a classical child's.
Forehead down, and in this version, arms come back behind you. A few breaths here just to reconnect to your breath practice, to feel that bowing in, that sweet surrender of child's pose. And anytime you practice yoga, you can come to this place to take rest and to reconnect to your breath awareness. 3 more here. Inhale, back body rises. Exhale, back body lowers. 2 more breaths. Last breath. Like you're crawling, back to hands and knees, hands come forward. Walk the hands, one handprint forward of the shoulders, tuck your toes, lift your hips, your back in downward facing dog. And this is a nice inverted V shape, again, pedaling out through the knees if you're feeling tight, or bending both knees together if you want to get more lift in the backbone. And then once again, bend your knees, come high into the balls of the feet, and start to walk up top of your mat. You can take little steps or big steps. Blocks are handy. Inhale, half lift. Lengthen your backbone. The heart moves away from the hips. Exhale, bow and fold. Fingertips soften, relax the back of the neck. 2 more like that. Inhale, half lift, pressing fingertips into the mat or blocks. Exhale, deeper fold, belly to thigh. Inhale, these hamstrings are going to be feeling really good. Exhale, bow and fold. Inhale, rise all the way to stand, palms press. And exhale, hands to heart center. Good. I'm going to lift you guys up a little higher so you'll be able to see me fully. You're standing tall at the top of your mat in mountain pose. So in mountain pose, I'll break this down for you. Toes and heels are together. The belly button is pulling in and up. The tailbone is drawing underneath you. Many of us tend to stick our tailbone out. I want you to work on drawing that down underneath. Core is engaged, legs are engaged. Shoulder heads roll back as the palms face forward. Gaze is soft. This is mountain pose. This is very important, advanced posture. I want you to find the tripod of the foot. Big toe, pinky toe, heel of the foot. This is the foundation. You are balancing on your feet at the same time as you're pressing down into the foundation of this building. You are lengthening out of the crown of the head. So it's opposite actions. Rooting down to feel tall. We'll add our Surya Namaskara, our sun salutations. Inhale, arms reach overhead. Palms press, gaze to thumbs. Exhale, swan dive and fold. Fingertips to the blocks or floor. Relax the neck. Inhale is halfway lift. Lengthen your heart, look forward. Exhale, fold a little deeper. Upper body over lower. Rise to stand. Press into the feet so you feel grounded. Arms reach. Plug in. And exhale, prayer to the heart. Anjali Mudra. This is an offering. Anjali is offer. Again, inhale, reach it up. Exhale, bow and fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, bow and fold. Rise all the way to stand, arms reach overhead.
And exhale, prayer pose to the heart. Last one like that. Inhale, arms lift. Maybe it's a little back bend. And exhale, forward bend. Inhale, half lift, get long. Exhale, fold deep. Inhale, rise all the way to stand. And exhale, hands to the heart. Inhale, arms lift. Exhale, bow and fold. Now this time, bend your knees, bring your hands to the mat, and step back to that plank pose. Take a breath here, get nice and long and strong. Next exhale, drop your knees to the mat, shift slightly forward, bend your elbows and lower your chest and chin. Sliding all the way to your belly, palms slide back. Tops of the feet are on the mat, legs are engaged. Roll the shoulder heads up. Think of a baby cobra. And exhale, child's pose. Big toes touching, press into the hands, hips sit back. Inhale, back to hands and knees. Exhale, tuck your toes, downward facing dog. These are the foundational poses of this style of yoga called vinyasa, and that translates linking breath to movement. Coming high into the balls of the feet, bend the knees, maybe taking larger steps, top of the mat. Half lift, press the fingertips into the floor or blocks. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise all the way to stand, arms lift. Exhale, mountain pose, hands pass through the heart. Again, inhale, arms up. Exhale, bow and fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And if you don't have blocks, hands can slide up the legs. Exhale, plant the hands, step back, plank. Hold, take a breath. Inhale and plank. Exhale, drop the knees, chest and chin. Slither forward like a cobra. Inhale, roll up as high as you like. Exhale, child's pose. Inhale, back to hands and knees. Exhale, downward facing dog. Lift the hips, drop the head. Walking the feet up to meet the hands. Halfway lift. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, folds. Big breath, stand up. Inhale. And exhale, hands to heart. Good. Chair pose, moving on. Bend the knees, sit the hips down. Notice if you've got that little duck butt. Scoop. And then upper body is trying to stand up. Arms lift. Knees and thighs are squeezing. Lower body sitting. Upper body standing. You can always lift the gaze. Utkatasana, chair. Hold this for 15 breaths. You will build some heat. And exhale back into your fold. Go ahead and step your left foot all the way to the back of the mat. Low lunge. And this time, spin the left heel flat. The toes are about 10 o'clock on a clock. Front knee is 90 degrees. Inhale, lift the chest. Now hands can come to the hips to begin. You sink low, squaring the hips forward, the heart forward, shoulders forward. Eventually, arms rise. Warrior one. Breathe in, breathe out. And this can be held for 1 to 100 breaths. Good. Exhale, hands to the mat. Lift the left heel up. Step forward. Nice and slow. Forward folds. Right foot back. Right heel down. Toes at 2 o'clock. Inhale, rise the chest.
Exhale here. Inhale, maybe add the arms. Warrior one, look up. And exhale, hands to the mat. Step back, downward dog. Press the hands, use your navel energy, meaning engage the abdominal wall. Inhale, plank pose. Exhale, knees, chest and chin. Inhale, slither forward, cobra lift. Exhale, downward dog. Or child's pose at any time. Come on down to your knees when you're ready. Take a clearing breath. Sip some water. Inhale deeply. Exhale deeply. Good, you can even feel from just a few minutes of sun salutations, the heart rate can be elevated. You can definitely build some fire. And yoga is a practice of feeling that internal shift. You're going to bring yourself back down to your seat, reaching the legs out long in front of you. And we'll take a simple twist. I want you to bend the right knee, pull the knee towards the chest, step the right foot outside of the left thigh. Left elbow takes the right knee, right hand back behind you. Inhale, lift the heart, get taller. Exhale, twisting around to the right. Right shoulder's away from the ear, and left elbow can even come across to the outer leg to leverage a deeper twist. Breathe in, breathe out. One more. Exhale. Untwist, other side. Right foot steps back, leg straightens, left knee bends, and crosses over the outer right thigh. Right elbow to left knee, find that hook, left hand behind you, or take the arm outer left leg to leverage a deeper twist. Inhale, lift. Exhale, twist. Breathe in. Try and relax the left shoulder away from the ear, feeling that twist in the lower belly. Twists are supremely healthy. They allow us to rinse and soak the abdominal organs. Untwist. Imagine a wet washcloth wringing out. Coming into another forward fold now. This time, feet together, knees apart. Butterfly pose, or you can think of this as the shape of a diamond. Some of us can pull the heels very close to the groins. Some of us like to have a little bit of a wider stance between heels and pelvis. Thumbs take the soles of the feet. Inhale, lift the chest. So we're always inhaling to get long. This is going to be a core theme. Exhale, go ahead, round and fold. Forehead to the heels. If it doesn't come anywhere near the heels, use your block. And the block has 3 heights: tall, medium, and low. Two more breaths. Eventually, third eye is on the heels. Slowly rising. Bring the knees together. I want you to just have a little introduction to boat pose. This is a little bit more advanced, but I think everyone can try it. You start with your knees bent, your feet about hip width. Hands come back behind you, and you rock the weight back to float the shin bones. Now you're balancing on the tailbone here, so keep lifting up through the heart. And if you're feeling steady, hands come to the backs of the legs. And that gives you a nice little connection to keep elevating through the chest. Breathing. 2 more here. And if you want to get super fancy, straighten one or both legs. Arms reach long, shoulders plug in. 2 more breaths. Last breath. Get a little shaky, a little wobbly. That's all part of the journey. Exhale, come out of the pose. Reverse table, hands back to that same position, fingers facing forward. You may have to walk the feet out a little bit, pressing down strongly into the arms to lift the hips. When the hips are at the height of the shoulder, carefully drop the head. Reverse table pose, you'll feel a nice stretch across the deltoids, the inner upper arm. See if you can breathe clean and smooth here. And exhale, slowly lower down. Legs can straighten. Release the pose. Good. So I'm going to add one more little back bend here. Taking your block or 2. Have them handy. Lower yourself down. And on the medium height, lift up the hips and slide 2 blocks under your low back. The feet are under the knees. It's hard to measure this. See if you can take your middle finger, tickle the backs of your heels. That will give you your basic measurement. Tuck or untuck the chin slightly so that the neck feels neutral. And hold this pose. This is a supported bridge pose. This feels so nice on the low back. You're also getting a little bit of an inversion. Blood is flowing in the opposite direction of normal. Nice deep breaths. And if you want to take this to the next level, lift the hips up by engaging the legs, slide the blocks aside. Interlace the hands to the webbing underneath you by tucking shoulders under. Imagine you're squeezing that block between the legs. Lift up a little higher. Even here, finding that tailbone scoop, we call this bridge pose. And exhale, release the clasp, slowly lower, and pull your knees into the chest, hugging the shin bones. And this is just a really nice place to rebound after your back bend. You can cross ankle over ankle or make little circles with the knees. Make sure you go clock and counterclock so that you feel nice and balanced. That's your short sequence, my friends. Every class ends the same way. The legs lengthen out long and wide. The head and neck are relaxed. Palms spin up. Shoulder heads drop back. Eyes close and the breath returns to normal. As you take rest in this wonderful posture, it's called Shavasana. This can be held for 1 to 20 minutes. Very important part of the practice. This is where everything absorbs, all the space you've created soaks in. After 1 to 20 minutes, you'll start to wiggle fingers and toes, wrists and ankles, reaching the arms overhead, getting very long, and then bending the knees and coming off the backbone, rolling over to the right. Right arm becomes your pillow. And you rest here in this fetal pose for just a beat. Traditionally, this is where you see the face of someone you're very grateful for, and you thank them for inspiring you, caring for you. And slowly use your hands, come up to seated, back to that cross-legged seat.
Getting comfortable, see which leg feels better on top. Definitely spin the palms up in the end. Thumb and forefinger to touch, representing self and highest self. Prayer to the heart, bow the chin. When we bow into this offering of our energy out to the world, sharing our collective practice. Namaste.